Hello guys, good afternoon. I think we can start already. Sorry na medyo late tayong mag-i-start. Okay ba yung audio natin guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you very much Mr. Haynes. Okay. Let me just share my screen to you. Wait lang. Ayan. Kita na? Kita na?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So last meeting, our topic was all about Universal Declaration of Human Rights. We discussed Article 1 to 15 of the 30 articles under UN Declaration on Human Rights. Now, as I've stated, we will be having a part 2 of such discussion kasi hindi natin na-cover lahat last meeting because kulang na tayo sa oras. Today, we're tasked to continue our previous discussion specifically on Article 16 up to Article 30 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So without further ado, I think we can start already. Okay, so we have here Article 16 of the declaration that we are talking about. This is more focused on the issues on marriage, no? Sa kasal-kasal naman to guys. So we have adaptation of this not only in our Philippine Constitution but also on the so-called civil rights, no? Nandun sa ating mga included ito dun sa tinatawag nating civil rights and specifically under I think under the family code of the Philippines. Ayan. So, we have here Article 16. It reads, it states here that men and women of full age, without any limitation due to race, nationality, or religion, have the right to marry and to found the so-called family. Now, they are entitled to equal rights as a marriage, during marriage, and at its dissolution. Okay. So let's talk about the first sentence. Here we have men and women of full age. Of course, we know that for a fact that kapag ikaw ay nasa legal age na, ay ikaw ay maaari na, you're entitled already of your some of your civil rights, specifically the right to marry and so on. So pwede ka nang mag-engage into the marriage, magpakasal in our term. So it mentioned only here men and women, no? So this is without regards to of course your race, no? Wala naman ditong discrimination in terms of race. Lahat tayo basta naabot mo na yung tinatawag nating legal age, meron tayong karapatan na magpakasal, mag-asawa, pumili ng ating mga kasama habang buhay, and of course to enjoy the benefit of marriage nating tinatawag, no? Kung medyo nagtataka kayo bakit kailangan pang maisali ito dito sa ating Human Rights Declaration, of course, during the early days, wala yung mga ganyan, pili lang yung mga, kumbaga, pwedeng mag-engage or magpakasal. Kasi nga, it seems like they have this social discrimination na kapag ikaw ay mahirap, ikaw ay alipin, ikaw ay nasa mababang hagdan or baitan ng ating lipunan, ay inaalisan ka ng karapatan na mag-enter into marriage, no? So dati ganon ang nangyayari, no? Kumbaga mga kasal-kasal lang noon ay ine-enjoy lang ng mga nandoon sa higher social class, and those from the bottom, no? Hindi sila nagbe-benefit ng mga karapatang yan. So yes po.
Sir, paki-excuse po kaming mga
Yes.
sir, kasi may ginagawa ko kaming dito, sir, dito sa gymnasium.
Opo, noted po. Yung mga lalaki na third year. Your excuse, I will just upload the na lang.
Yes, sir.
Opo. I will just upload the lecture na lang para mabalikan nyo pa. Sige, you may now leave the Google Meet.
Thank you po, sir.
Welcome po. I'll check the attendance to Sir Romel, Tignan ko kay Sir Romel kung sino yung mga nandyan. Baka kasi mamaya wala kayo dyan,
Sige po, sir. Thank you po.
Okay. Okay, so to continue with our discussion. So I have just a very notion, may I ask, sa mga kababaihan natin. Meron lang akong gustong banggitin dito in relation to the different social issues that we have, we know for a fact that with regard to marriage, with regards to marriage, isa sa mga laging napag-uusapan dito yung tinatawag nating dissolution, dissolution of marriage. So we have at least three way or means of marriage dissolution, we have the annulment, but of course annulment is a different different class yan kasi annulment proves or claims that there is no marriage that was performed. Kumbaga, walang pinapawalang bisa, hindi naman pinapawalang bisa, kumbaga is pinapalabas nito na hindi legal or hindi valid yung naging kasal. So, still, pwede nating isali pa rin ito. Pero sabi ko nga, medyo iba ito kumpara doon sa two other way of dissolving the marriage. Okay? Now, in our country, now we know for a fact that we don't have divorce. Diba? In our country, we don't have divorce. We only have legal separation. But the implication of legal separation kasi is that you are only separated from bed and board. No? Ibig sabihin, kasal pa rin kayo, yun nga lang ay hindi na kayo obligado na magsama at tulungan ng isa't isa, especially when it comes to financial and so on. So hiwalay na kayo, kanya-kanya na kayo, pero yung marriage is buo pa rin or nandoon pa rin at valid pa rin. The implication of that is that you cannot remarry. Hindi ka pwedeng magpakasal ulit kasi valid pa yung previous marriage mo. So, with that, kasi sabi dito, everyone are entitled of equal rights to marriage. That might include also the dissolution of marriage. Do you think that, having or prohibiting the non-existence of divorce in our country, can you consider that actually as inhumane on your part na mga kababaihan na hindi kayo pwedeng mag-file ng divorce sa ating country? Is that fair to you? Fair ba yan? Una, tanong siguro natin dito, kayo ba ay sumasang-ayon sa konsepto ng diborsyo? Anyone? Any representative from the gentle ladies on the class?
Sir, yung question ba kung
Yes. Kung
kami doon sa concept ng divorce, sir?
Tama. What do you think? Si Miss Laika ba yan?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What your opinion on that? Do you favor it?
Yes, sir.
Why? Bakit?
Kasi, sir, kapag hindi naman na talaga healthy yung relationship, sir, though may sinumpaan kayong sa Diyos, hindi naman siguro yun magiging dahilan, sir, para hindi ka tanggap. Mas lalong papalala lang yung situation, i-stick ka pa dun sa relationship na hindi naman na maayos, sir. So, better na i-save mo na lang yung sarili mo, sir.
Yes, of course.
Sarili nyo kasi both naman kapag, sir, masasave, sir, kapag ginusto.
That's true. Hindi sa akin kasi we have that divorce, but the only reason why we can't be able to have this was because of accordingly we are a Christian country, medyo hindi sumasang-ayon dito ang ating mga religious sector. Not all of them, but some, especially the bigger one, really don't agree with the concept of divorce. But again, that's true, especially when we're talking about the existence of abuse inside marriage, yung mga marital abuse na yun. So, I think it is not justifiable naman to stay in a relationship if it is already abusive, especially kung abusive na yung uri ng relationship na yan, bakit ka pa mag-i-stay dyan? So, I think the reason why they are trying to they're disagreeing with the concept of divorce is that we value the essence of family. But again, no, ano pa nga ba ang family masusave mo kung hindi na masaya or hindi na nagkakalabuan ng parents? So it will not be for the benefit, it will not be for the best interest of the child to stay in that type of relationship, tama? So eto kasi, ang pagkakaunawa kasi natin under Article 16 here is that as part of our human rights, no, we should have also the ability to decide for our own, especially on the concept of marriage. No, alangan namang magi-stay ka in a marriage, no, in a marriage that are no longer beneficial on your part, especially kung nagiging abusive na siya. Kasi yun naman talaga yung main reason kung bakit nila fino-force ang divorce. Kasi meron tayong mga families and meron tayong mga couples that are no longer happy with each other to the point that they're even abusing each other in terms of maybe physically, emotionally, and so on. So that's a very toxic relationship. And it will not benefit them now if they will still stay with that type of family. No? At kung halimbawa meron man silang anak, no? Tingin mo magiging maganda kaya na environment for the child, for the children to grow up in that type of family na merong halimbawa pambubugbog, laging nagkakaroon ng domestic violence, no, and many more. So these are the reasons that I'm considering, of course, that to substantiate my claim that me myself agree with the concept of divorce, no. So we have the legal separation kasi sinasabi na meron naman tayong legal separation. But remember that under legal separation, hindi ka pa rin pwedeng magsimula ng panibago in terms of marriage. Kumbaga hindi ka pwedeng magpakasal ng panibago because the marriage is still considered as valid, no? Hindi pa siya dissolved. So in that, kumbaga it is making or it is appearing that those who marry, no, have no second chance already once that they committed a wrong decision in choosing their partner, ano? Pag halimbawa ikaw babae ka, mali ka ng piniling pakasalan, no, abusive pala siya, sugarol pala siya, no, and other yung mga different traits pa na hindi ka nais-nais for a partner, no, nandun sa kanya. So wala ka na bang parang karapatan to at least reconsider or to restart, no, ng panibago. And remember that annulment cannot be applied to this kasi it is a valid marriage, no? Kung valid ang kasal, annulment cannot be applied. The only way to do that is through the only remedy that is left is legal separation. But as I've stated, merong cons, no, meron tayong matatawag na tawag dito loophole on the concept of legal separation. The fact that you are still married, ibig sabihin ay you cannot remarry. Kung halimbawa meron ka nang napupusuan at tingin mo siya na talaga, no, ay hindi na kayo magbe-benefit ng basbas ng ating batas in terms of marriage and so on. So magkaanak man kayo, they will be considered as illegitimate and so they are also affected. So what I'm pointing here is that the absence of divorce in our country for me seems like or it appears to me that is considered as a violation of your human rights, especially you women, no? I think it is considered, I can consider it as a violation, of course, of your human rights, especially under Article 16, ano? So yan lang naman ang aking opinion, no? I don't know to others, no? I believe that some of you are very religious, and I do respect that you really value the marriage, the sanctity of marriage and so on. But remember that there are individuals, no, especially women, who are already dying there because of they don't have choice, no, but to live with their victimizer, their partners who are abusive to them and so on. They don't have choice but to stick with that mistake that they had committed by selecting a person, a partner that is um, how do you call this? Hindi siya, kumbaga, kanais-nais. Sorry, I can't remember the proper term for that. Now, so that is with regards to that. Again, dito naman sa paragraph 2, no? Marriage shall be entered into only with the free and full consent of the intending spouses, no? So, kapag ang isang tao ay ikakasal, no, dapat ito ay naaayon sa sarili niyang kagustuhan at sa sarili niyang kagustuhan. Dati kasi we have yung mga tinatawag nating fixed marriage, no? Meron yung mga pinapakasal bilang pambayad ng utang, ano? So in the early part of our history, no, we witnessed the different documents that we have had indeed proved that there exists the so-called fixed marriage, yung mga pinapakasal kahit ayaw nila just for the sake of monetary purposes, no, financial purposes, mga ganon. So a marriage, no, is valid, no, and it is considered not the violation of the human rights of one person if it was entered into, no, with the with the consent, no, free and full consent of the intending spouses. Kung sino man ang magpapakasal, no, dapat ito ay kagustuhan nila at hindi sila pinilit na pumasok diyan, no, dahil lamang sa mga personal interest, no, either of the family or either of one person. So that should be the consideration that we should look into when we are talking about marriage. So kung mapapansin mo, we are referring here about some certain crimes, ano? If it is inhumane, no, kung hindi yan makatao, if it is a violation of our human rights, then there probably is a law that punishes such act. And I believe there is such thing as a law that punishes also yung mga ganito, yung mga pinilit mo yung isang tao na ipakasal sa kung sino and so on. And that even is a consideration for the invalidation of the marriage, no? Kapag ikaw ay pinilit, no, that could invalidate the marriage. So we have in family code yung tinatawag nating shotgun marriage, no? Yung mga napikot in Tagalog, no? So pag ikaw ay napikot, yan ay uri ng kung saan isa. Anyway, if you have question, don't hesitate to interrupt. Now, what we are talking about that, yan, sa shotgun marriage na yan, yung mga napikot na yan, no, don't worry if ever man na mangyari sa inyo yan, there is a remedy for that, and that is so-called the annulment, no? Kasi ang pagpapakasal ay hindi dapat sa pilitan, ito dapat ay ginagawa ng kusa ng isang taong nasa tinatawag nating full age, no, or legal age. Okay? So the family is the natural and fundamental group, unit of the society, and they are entitled to protection by the society and the state. So we have that naman sa batas natin. If we are going to look under Republic Act 9344, it's stated there that they are for the protection of the children, no, they are for the protection of the sanctity of the family, and so on. So if there is really an adaptation for this, no, in the different laws that we have, no, especially that those child protection laws, no, so meron yan, inadapt nila yan. They value the family, They value, of course, they know, or they respect the significance of family in nation building, and so on. So we have that. We have an adaptation for this specific paragraph of the articles on the Human Rights Declaration. Okay, I think we move on to Article 17. Article 17 talks about the right to own property. No? Of course, we have all the right to own property. If you have financial resources, gusto mong bumili ng bahay, ng lupa, no, kung anumang property ang naisin mong gawin, bilhin, no, karapatan mo 'yan, and nobody should prohibit you in doing so. No, the state, no, the government, or any other individual could never prohibit you, no, from exercising your right to own property. No? So, that is subjected, of course, to the different laws that we have. Ano? Siyempre, meron naman tayong mga laws, like, for example, for foreigner, no? Yung mga dayuhan, do they have the right to own property or to buy property in our country? I think we have a specific laws naman and regulation to those things. No? But for us, no, tayo na mga nandito, no, residente or mga citizen of the Philippines, no, definitely have that right, no, to property, to own property, no? Or to form an association in order to own a certain property. No one, no, in relation to this, no one shall be arbitrarily deprived of his property, no? So if you have a property, they could not take that away from you. I think we have this in our Philippine Constitution naman. So we adopted also this specific article on the Declaration on Human Rights, no? What does it mean by taking it arbitrarily? Ano, yung kumbaga is kukunin yung property mo ng walang due process, no? That is a violation under our human rights, no? Halimbawa, okay? Gusto ng gobyernong kunin yung malawak mong lupain, no? Para ipamigay niya ito sa mahihirap, that is in violation of your human rights. Unless, no, that is by virtue of their power, no, to take the properties, but of course with the appropriate payment, no, kapag halimbawa ang property mo ay gagamitin para sa mga proyektong pampubliko, no, so yun yung mga exemption. But this is with compensation, nababayaran naman nila, hindi yung kumbaga is kunin ko na yung malawak na lupain mo, papatayuan ko yan ng pabahay, and so on, without even paying you for the property. So that could not happen. That is in violation of your human rights. Now, they could only take that away from you with the proper compensation. Nababayaran ka ng tama at naaayon doon sa halaga ng property na kukunin sa'yo. Article 18, no? Yeah. Article 18, everyone has the right to freedom of thought, conscience, and religion. This right includes the freedom to change his religion or belief, and the freedom, either alone or in community with others, and in public or private, to manifest his religion or belief in teaching, practice, worship, and observance. Yan. Do you exercise your right to religion? Yan. Ina-exercise mo ba yan? Or are you, how do you call this? Are you being compelled to join a specific religion or to have a specific religion based on the will of others? No? Kasi if you are being compelled to do so, no, halimbawa, ito dapat ang pasukin mong religion, ito dapat ang i-practice mong religion, no? May batas ba tayo na nagsasabi na gano'n, no? Or may ahensya ba tayo ng gobyerno na nagsasabi na, kayo dapat ito ang piliin yung relihiyon, no? Meron ba? Wala. So definitely, this is of course in respect to our right to religion, no? We have the right to choose whatever religion we wanted to join into, no? We have the right to practice whatever belief we have, no? We have the right to associate with ourselves with the different religious community, no? Even we have the right to form our religion if we want to, no? We also have the right, of course, to manifest or practice the religion or belief, no, in terms of teaching, no, in practice, in worship, and through observance, no, through observation. Kaya nga kung mapapansin niyo, wala naman talagang nakasaad dito. Halimbawa, na kapag ikaw ay mag-aaral, dapat ikaw ay ganito ang relihiyon mo. Kapag ikaw ay papasok ng trabaho, especially sa gobyerno, dapat ganito yung relihiyon mo. Or dapat ganito. No, so, this is just one of the rights that is, I think, it's controversial. Kasi may mga nakikita pa rin ako that put some discrimination in terms of religion. I'll give you an example. No? Some public officials, mga politicians, do not support the community of some religious organization. Why? I don't know. Why? Because probably they're not voting. No? It's not it's an open secret that there are some religion that do not practice the right to suffrage. Yung mga hindi bumoboto, no, hindi na ako magme-mention. Pero merong mga relihiyon, merong mga sekta, no, sa atin na kung saan is hindi sila bumoboto. Why? Because that is in contradiction to what they believe, and that is in contradiction to their faith. In relation to that, no, ito namang mga politician na ito do not even support them, no, in terms of the different projects that they have, no, they are being discriminated because they are not exercising the right to suffrage. Tama ba 'yon? Tama kaya 'yon na halimbawa ikaw politician ka is ayan, wala akong ipapatayong project dyan kasi hindi naman kayo mga botante, no? Or karamihan naman ng mga nandyan hindi bumoboto. So is that constitutional, or is that humanistic, no? These people are just exercising their right to religion, and they should not or they do not deserve that treatment from especially from the government employees and so on. So ito yung mga pinupunto dito under Article 18, that of course everyone or every individual has the right, no, to exercise, to practice, to worship, no, to have their own belief and religion. So that should not be the reason, no, for them to be discriminated, especially with the different social program that the government are implementing. Yan. No, so tandaan natin lagi yan. That is in violation of Article 18 of our human rights, no, as proclaimed by the Universal Declaration. Okay? 19. Everyone has the right to freedom of opinion and expression. These rights includes the freedom to hold opinions without interference and to seek, receive, and impart information and ideas through any media and regardless of frontiers. Now, so the right to expression is clearly manifested, of course, under our Philippine Constitution. Under right to expression, meron kang karapatan, no, na isiwalat, sabihin, ipahayag ang sarili mong opinyon, no? At hindi dapat yan pipigilan ng kahit sino man. No? So that is the right, that is one of our right under our freedom, no, of speech and expression. However, no, there are certain individuals that do not understand the concept of freedom of expression and opinion, no? Na kung saan kapag ang isang tao nagpapahayag ng kanyang saloobin ay anong tawag nito? Ini-interpret nila ito that is considered as inappropriate, or that is considered as negative, no? Negative statements, and sometimes the basis for filing a case, no? 'Di ba? Kung sasampahan mo lahat ng tao na magsabi ng kontra sa iyo, no, you are already violating the right, no, to freedom of expression. You know the limitation. Sabi ko nga, you have sa rights natin, no, in the practice of our human rights, lahat tayo may karapatang i-exercise ang rights natin as long as wala kang ginagawang krimen or wala kang inaapakang ibang tao. So if, for example, I'm just expressing my opinions regarding a certain issues, no, And kung tinamaan ka doon, no, hindi naman directed sa iyo yung aking opinion or yung aking pahayag, pero tinamaan ka, then take it, no? Kasi kung sabi nga nila, bato-bato sa langit, tamaan, wag magagalit, no? Kasi kung ako'y nagpapahayag lamang ng aking opinion at nasasaktan ka, you don't have the right to hamper me of expressing my opinion just because you are being hurt, no? Hindi mo pwedeng, oh, tama na yan, papakulong na kita kasi sumusobra ka na, no? My limitation, ang limitation ko is only if kapag ako ay nang aakusa, no? Kapag ako ay naninira ng puri ng iba, kapag meron na akong ginagawang krimen because of what I'm doing, no? Because of how I expressing myself, no? Then that is my limitation. Doon ako pwedeng pigilan na in my exercise, in the exercise of my rights, no? Especially on freedom of speech and expression. But if I'm not doing any of those circumstances I mentioned, that could be the basis of my rights to be invalidated, no? Then I still have the right to express my opinion and expressions. I can give you a good example for this. Ano ngayon, sobrang init ng politika sa Pilipinas, no? Dahil nalalapit na naman ang ating eleksyon. But this is what I had observed. Ano? Let us try to be neutral here. I'll just cite it as an example. So we have the case of Rappler and Facebook, no? That they're trying to block all the posts, no? Comments related to one of the aspirants of the presidency, no, ngayong election na to. So they're trying to block, considering it as fake news or whatsoever. I don't know how did they do that, but that's clearly an example of an act that is hampering our freedom of speech and expression. No, what if I support a certain political party? What if I am supporting a certain candidate? So that does it mean that I'm committing a crime already by doing so, by expressing that, or by having an opinion similar to that person? So yan yung clearly, no, a violation of our human rights, no, especially on our freedom of speech and expression. Kasi kung gagawin nila yun, so pinipili na lang nila kung ano yung gusto nilang marinig, no? And mind you, there is no due process naman about that, no? What's the due process in considering a certain statement or a certain document as fake, no? Ano ba yung process niyan? Dapat ba meron tayong trial, which I believe there should be, no? Hindi yung basta any post related to this person will be considered as fake news and so on. So that is clearly a violation of our rights, of our human rights, especially on expression and opinion. And there's a lot of more, na marami pa yan, no? Wag na nating banggitin kasi nga let's try to be neutral. I'm just citing that as an example. I'm still going to use that example even if the other party naman ang involved. Ano, kung pabaliktad naman yun, example pa rin yan. Okay? So the point here is that every individual should be entitled to express their opinions, no, without any interference, no, from the government or from any other organizations, no? Questions?
Paano nakaka-apekto?
May tanong?
Sir, paano nakaka-apekto yung libel dun sa right of speech and expression? Dahil dun sa case ni Enchong, pinasuhan siya dun sa kanyang opinion about sa marriage ng isang kongresista.
Okay, so yan nga, if you remember one of your activity, I'm not sure if naip-activity ko to, ano, pero alam ko meron eh. Is libel considered as violation or is considered as a mechanism of violating our freedom of expression and speech and expression? So let's look at the nature of the case libel. Ang libel kasi if in case that you are already accusing some criminal activity to one person, no, then that is already considered as libelous, especially if that is not true. Pwede na yan kapag halimbawa proven na. Pero kung halimbawa inaakusahan mo pa lang siya, wala pa namang pagdinig na nangyari. Like for example, I'm not familiar with the case that you cited, ano? Pero take it for example na ganito. Halimbawa si Pedro, inakusahan niya si Mayor yan, ano yan?
Ata yun, sir.
Ha?
Kasi, sinabi kasi ni Enchong na yung pera na ginamit sa kasal, dun sa parang may organization kasi, sir.
Aha.
Yung sa sinasabi ni Galano, sir, yung sa Libel.
He accused somebody of a crime.
Yes, sir, kasi kinasal kasi yung public servant, sir. Tapos sabi niya, yung ginamit sa kasal, kinuha yung pera dun sa parang organization nila, sir. Ganun.
Oh, that's libelous for me, Kasi, a politician could be criticized doon sa kanyang pagsaserbisyo. But if you had accused a politician that halimbawa, ayan si mayor ginamit niya, si congressman ginamit niya yung pera ng gobyerno, pera ng organisasyon sa kasal niya. Did you prove that? No? Napatunayan mo ba? Was there a decision of the court that proves that really that did that happen? No? If none, then that is just libelous accusation. So that could be valid, ano? Kung ano dito, that is a good example na pwede nating sabihin na yan is libelous yan. Why? Was it proven? No? Sa korte na si congressman was convicted of halimbawa malversation or corruption and so on, especially on especially on these facts that he is citing, no? Meron bang desisyon ng korte na totoo nga nagpapatunay nga na si mayor ginawa niya yon? Kasi kung wala, that is just a mere libelous accusation which could be a ground, of course, by the victim to file a case against the accuser. No? Yun yung tinitignan kasi natin. Yes, we have the right, we have the freedom to express our thoughts and opinions about certain issues and so on. Pero kung ikaw naman na ay naninira nang wala namang talagang basihan or wala namang wala namang legal na basihan, diyan ka na mababata. So, diyan ka na i-consider that you are an enemy already of our law. No? So, clear naman ang case natin or clear naman ang definition ng libel natin at clear naman ang treatment niya kung ano yung mga libelous act at ano yung mga hindi. Halimbawa, simplehan natin, akusahan ka ng yung kapitbayan, si Maria, nabuntis yan, nagpalaglag. Is there a crime being accused? May inaakusa bang krimen? Yes, nagpalaglag ka daw. Accordingly, that is considered as a crime. Di ba? Abortion yan. Ngayon, no? Kung wala namang legal basis of claiming that you are indeed, no, or you engage into such act as abortion, pwede mong sampahan yan. Kasi sobrang paninira yan, no? Sobrang, kumbaga, is accusing you of a crime that is not true, that is not proven, that has no legal basis, and so on. So, yun yung clear natin on libel. So, whenever you are accusing somebody, no, especially when you are telling or you are name dropping, make sure that your allegations are actually true, no? That meron ng mga kaso or meron ng mga desisyon, may mga legal basis na nagpapatunay na yung sinasabi mo ay talagang totoong nangyari, no? If none, libelous yan. No? So, dalawa kasi nakikita ko dito. So, one is that yung inaakusahan is a politician. Okay? Politician siya. We could not deny that, of course, that pwede naman nating i-critic talaga ang mga politician, but not to the point that we're accusing them of a crime, ano? Especially that's on corruption. So, yun yung mga dapat i-consider natin with regards to these issues, no? Ang sabi ng Supreme Court, no, I mentioned this how many times already. We have the right to exercise, or we all have the freedom to exercise our rights. No? Karapatan nating i-exercise ang ating rights without affecting or without abusing the rights also of others. Siyempre, Si politicians may karapatan din yan to be protected from these types of actions. No? Halimbawa, ikaw, tao ka, ordinaryo ka man or politician ka, public figure ka man or private person ka lang, no? You have the right also to be protected by these types of actions. Kasi kung hindi pinaparusahan ang mga ganitong pag-aakusa nang wala namang legal na basihan, ano sa tingin niyo ang mangyayari sa ating bansa? So it just is right and proper that we have the case or we have the right or we have the law on libel as we are being protected from this type of actions. No, kasi kung ganyan, halimbawa, lahat na ng politician, sisiraan na yan. No, aakusahan niya ng ganito. O yan si mayor, mamamatay tao yan. Maraming pinapapatay yan. Yan si presidente. Ano yan? Utak ng mga extrajudicial killing yan. Those things. No? But some other politicians kasi, they don't mind. No? Hindi na nila binibigyan ng pansin ito. But then, remember that in case they wanted to file a case, really, special libel or civil libel, they can do so. No? Pero dahil nga lang hindi naman ganoon kaseryoso ang parusa ng crime ng libel, hindi na nila minsan pinapansin yan kasi una, magasto, and so on. It's a waste of time. So they just let it go. They just tolerating those actions. But remember, you can file a case of libel whenever that circumstances I'm mentioning happen. Okay? Any more?
Part ay na pinagbumita siya ng 100 billion, sir. Paano yun po?
100 billion?
1 billion.
1 billion, sir.
For para sa para saan?
Para dun sa, yun, sir, yung nagbitaw siya ng kalita, sir, na wala pang...
No. Hindi pwede 'yun. It's not the victim who would decide kung magkano yung gusto niyang settlement. Kasi sabihin niya, this is the moral damage that I want. Hindi pwede. Halimbawa ako, ginawa na, sincyber libel ako ng isang tao. I would require for the moral damages, yung mga nasira sa akin, magbayad ka ng 1 million. It's not for me to decide. It's the court, they have the law. Sila ang mag-decide. Halimbawa, your business was affected. Because of the libelous, ito, sabihin natin, yung McDo, for example, I remember the case, na ganon yung nangyari. Ang inakusahan or ang binato ng libelous words is a company. Halimbawa, yung McDo. Example lang yung McDo. Sinira mo yung McDo. Like for example, sinabi mo na naglalagay sa madumi ang kanilang mga products, bulok yung mga chicken na nilalagay nila doon, ano pa? Lahat ng mga propaganda na pwede mong ibato sa isang kumpanya para mawalan siya ng customer. Ginawa mo yun. Especially you're accusing crime already. That's libelous. And because of that, dahil sa ginawa mong yan, nalugi sila. Nalugi sila ng milyon-milyon. In that manner, considering the effect of what you have done, they could ask you to repay that certain amount. Pwedeng mangyari yung ganun kalaking danyos, ganun kalaking multa, kapag meron itong legitimate effect, especially on the business or the financial resources of that institution or that person that you accuse of, that you had, you throw some libelous words to them. Pwedeng umabot ng mga ganung multa kung yung circumstances na sinabi ko kanina na naapektuhan yung kanyang trabaho, naapektuhan yung kanyang business, and so on. So, titignan nyo ng korte at sila ang magdedesisyon kung magkano dapat ang imumulta nila doon sa violator. So, that's the possibility. Kung halimbawa si congressman na naapektuhan yung kanyang trabaho, naapektuhan yung kanyang kita, business and so on, at umabot nga ng ganun kahalaga yung ganung halaga yung nawala sa kanya dahil sa binato sa kanyang akusasyon na hindi naman totoo, pwede niyang paabutin or pwedeng paabutin ng korte yung danyos na ganun. So it's up to the court of course to decide. But definitely hindi si offender ang magsasabi kung magkano dapat or kung gaano kalaki dapat. So yun yung dapat nating linawin. Any more?
Sir, paano kung nahatulan na si Enchong kapag sa kasong libel, sa malalimang investigasyon, may katotohanan pala yung kanyang sinabi? Yung kanyang comment doon sa isang politiko?
I think he could, pwede siyang mag-appeal. Pero, hindi eh. Retroactive kasi yung evidence na yan eh. Kumbaga, nung sinabi ni Enchong na ganito si congressman, hindi pa naman siya napapatunayan. Then later on, naunang nakulong si Enchong, tapos later on, sinampahan ng kaso si may congressman, naging totoo nga. Retroactive na siya, kumbaga nauna yung action, no? Nauna yung pag-aakusa bago na mapatunayan. Kaya, if in terms of evidences, I don't think it would work. Teka. That's a good question. Medyo napapaisip ako dito kasi meron tayong provision on retroactivity, yung ano ba yun? That the law shall not apply backwards. Pero meron din naman doong provision na kung saan if it will benefit the offender, then it could apply. So in the case of Mr. Enchong, pwede siyang umapela, no, using the decision of the court on the case of that congressman to revise, no, the case. Pwedeng ganun ang mangyari. Kasi imaginein mo to sa rules on evidence natin, dati may mga tao na nakukulong because of a crime, wala pa tayong mga fingerprint evidence, wala pang mga DNA evidence, ano? Then later on, nung meron na tayo ng mga technology na to, binisita nila yung mga kaso ng mga taong ito at napatunayan through the improvement or through the progress, no, of the science, especially in the field of DNA and fingerprint, naabsuelto sila sa mga kaso nila. So considering that logic, I think Mr. Enchong could use the same logic also on his case. So kung halimbawa later on in the case, no, habang nahatulan na si Enchong o nakulong na si Enchong because of his crime, because of libel, then later on mapapatunayan pala na totoo naman talaga yung mga binabato niya doon sa isang politician na yan. So he could use that, no, as an evidence to appeal, no, para iapela yung kanyang kaso following the logic that we have cited in the field of DNA and fingerprints. So pwede siguro yun. Any more? Sige. I think I could cut the... yes, last. Sige. Meron pa. Ayan. So I think let's cut the discussion on that. I will revisit that case, no? Tignan ko yung kaso na yan. That's very interesting. So moving on, no? Moving on, let us proceed on where are we? Article 20, no? We still have 10 articles to talk about. So Article 20, everyone has, thank you pala, no? That's, thank you for your participation. That's very interesting. If you could do that more, pwede. Article 20 naman, everyone has the right to freedom of peaceful assembly and association. No one may be compelled to belong to an association. So we have here the freedom to form an assembly and organization or association. Ano? As long as the intention of that association is for the betterment, the betterment of its member, and it is not against the law. No? Pero kung ang binubuo mo ng asosasyon ay asosasyon ng mga rebelde, asosasyon ng mga terorista, no? Diyan na tayo merong may paglabag. At diyan na tayo hindi pwedeng i-exercise yung ating karapatan to form, no? Assembly or association. Sabi nga dito, freedom of peaceful assembly and association. So in case, no, we have been witnessing yung mga rallies na yan, that's considered as a peaceful assembly. No? If they're just demonstrating or expressing their thoughts, still, that's peaceful assembly. That is in relation also to our freedom of expression. But, no, kapag yung mga tao diyan na nagmo-motorcade, nagpaparada, nagrarally, are committing crimes already, then that's the time that they will be considered as an enemy of the law and an enemy of the state. So, pwede nang hulihin, kasuhan yung mga tao yan because what they're doing is no longer considered as a peaceful assembly, ano? They are already endangering the peace and order of the community, and they are threatening already the security of that place where they are having that assembly or whatsoever. No? So yun yung kailangan natin i-consider dyan. No one may be compelled to belong to join into a certain association. That's also true, ano? You are not compelled to join a specific or a certain association if you don't want to. No, ang pagpili or pagsama, pag-anib sa isang asosasyon ay dapat yan ay kusa at buong puso mong desisyon, no? Sarili mong desisyon at hindi ka dapat pinipilit ng kahit sino man, no? Or ng kung sino man. Yan, Article 21. Teka, ba't naputol? What's under Article 21 naman? We have here the right to take part in the government, no, of his country directly or through freely chosen representative. So we are talking about our right, of course, to elect, no, to vote, to run for a position, and so on, as long as you are qualified. So that is under Article 21. No? We could take part into in the government by either exercising our right to suffrage. No? If we want also to be represented, no, we could form a certain party, no, duly recognized by the government. To represent our ideas, our beliefs and thoughts, our opinions to the government. No? So we have the right to take part. And they could not do something that they could not do something about it, no? Na kung saan is the purpose is to prohibit some of the citizens to join into the different activities of the government, specifically in suffrage and other issues. Everyone has the right of equal access to public service in his country. Yan. So yung binabanggit ko kanina in relation to religion, ano, and you are being denied of your of this ability of the availability of the public service, no, because of some conflict with your political thoughts, political beliefs or positions in terms of politics or ideas in politics. That is considered as inhumane, no? Hindi makatao yan. That is in violation of our human rights. So, regardless of who you are, no, and regardless of what belief you have or practice that you have, you are entitled of the service of your own country. So, kung ano man ang benefits that they're receiving, no, ano man yung benefit na nare-receive ni Juan, no, yun din dapat ang benefit na marireceive ni Pedro kahit ano pa man ang kanyang paniniwala, no? Especially in politics, kahit ano pa man ang kanyang pagkatao, no? He should be entitled of the same rights as the other or the majority are receiving. Okay? Take note on that. Kasi may mga instances kasi naman tayong nangyayari na, for example, no? May mga batas, no, that only those certain group are benefiting from it, no? May mga certain group lang ang nagbe-benefit doon. Paano naman yung iba? Dapat pantay-pantay yan, no? Kung ganito ang natatanggap ng mga tao diyan, no, sa isang lupalop ng Pilipinas, dapat entire the Philippines ganun din ang serbisyong natatanggap nila. Hindi pwedeng magpagawa o magpanukala sila ng batas, ang magbe-benefit lang ay yung mga nandoon sa isang rehiyon. What about the others? No, they should enjoy the same rights also as the others are enjoying. No, so equal access to the different public service that we have. Okay, next. The, nalis na. Saan na yun? The will of the people shall be the basis of the authority of the government. This will shall be expressed in periodic and genuine elections, which shall be by universal and equal suffrage, shall be held by secret vote or by equivalence. So, as we are talking about kanina doon sa first paragraph, no, with regards to suffrage, with regards to your right to vote, no, the will of the people, especially in selecting leaders, no? Kung ano man ang kung sino man ang gusto nilang iluklok na mamumuno sa isang bansa, ayun dapat ang masunod, ano? So there should be no mechanism that will endanger, of course, the exercise of the right, no, of the people to select, no, their righteous leader, no? So yan yung mga meron tayong mga paglabag, halimbawa nagkakaroon ng dayaan, no? Kapag nagkaroon tayo ng dayaan, do you think that it's the will of the people ang nasunod, no? When it comes to how the government will run or who will lead the government and so on, kapag nagkaroon ng dayaan na ganyan, then definitely you are already violating the human rights of your citizen, no? By depriving them of their participation, by depriving them of their will, no, and wishes on who should lead the government, on what type of government should be adopted, and many other political issues. Okay? 22. Everyone as a member of the society has the right to social security and is entitled to the realization through national effort and international cooperation and in accordance with the organization and resources of each state, of the economic, social, and cultural rights indispensable for his dignity and free development of his personality. Ayan. So we are all entitled of our social rights or all of our social rights and social security and so on. Now, so what are the government programs that has something to do with the protection of our social security? Ano-ano yung mga yan? No? Do we have the so-called medical security? Do we have tawag kasi natin dun sa ibang bansa, meron yun eh. Na kung saan is they are being protected in terms of health, na kapag nagkasakit sila, merong ayudang ibibigay ang gobyerno in terms of medicine. Like for example, we have the PhilHealth, no? Kapag sila ay tumanda, anong benepisyong matatanggap nila. So lahat dapat makinabang, no? Dito sa mga to. Kung ang isang tao, yan, let me just cite an example. Sabi dito, lahat dapat ng mga social securities that are entitled should be equal. Okay? Let's talk about pension. Pension. Sino ang nakakatanggap ng pension? No? Yung mga senior citizens, no? Yung mga nagtrabaho dati, no, na naghulog sa SSS, sa GSIS and so on, yung mga hindi naman nakapagtrabaho, no? Sila ay entitled din of pension from the government kapag sila ay umabot na doon sa specific age na tinatakda ng ating gobyerno. But the fact is that kapag ikaw ay nagpe-pension na under SSS, GSIS, or any other agencies na kung saan is binayaran mo naman, hinulugan mo naman habang ikaw ay nagtratrabaho, you are no longer entitled of the pension coming from the government na binibigay ng gobyerno bilang paayuda sa mga senior citizen. Why? Bakit? No? Was it their fault? No? Ay kasalanan ba ng mga matatanda na nagtrabaho noon, nagsikap magtrabaho noon, naghulog ng kanilang bayarin, no? Especially sa mga ganyan, sa mga pension, no? Kasalanan ba nila na naghulog sila kaya ngayon they will not benefit already from the benefit the government are giving to those senior citizens? I think that is unfair. Ano? That is unfair. Kasi sila, nagbayad sila. Yung iba, no? Hindi naman natin sinasabing wala silang ginawa, but they're being given by the government a certain, amount of money, no? Binibigyan sila ng gobyerno ng tulong, no? But then they're already disregarding those individuals, no? na kung saan umabot na rin naman ng senior citizen, but because they're receiving already a pension from the government, which they are entitled to kasi nagbayad sila, will no longer benefit from the program that they had released. Now, that is unfair. Okay? So, kung ano man yung mga ganyan, sana, no, na programa ng gobyerno, especially with regards to Social Security and other beneficial programs, no, bilang pantulong sa mga mamamayan, should be equal to everyone. No? It should be equal to everyone. Hindi dapat ilan lang ang makikinabang. No? At hindi dapat ma-exclude yung mga iba na wala naman silang kasalanan kung hindi naging masunurin sila. So that's what I'm pointing out here. No? Okay, next. Article 23, no? We have here the right to work, free choice of employment, no? To have a favorable condition and protection against unemployment. Then paragraph 2, everyone without discrimination has the right to equal pay. Everyone who works has the right to just and favorable remuneration, ensuring for himself and his family. Everyone has the right to form and to join trade unions for the protection of interests. So as you can see, there are more on labor rights. There are more on labor rights. Ano bang pinag-uusapan natin dito? Free choice of employment, right to work. No? Of course, syempre alam naman natin that some works really need specialized skills. No? May mga trabaho talaga tayo na nangangailangan talaga ng karunungan doon sa field na yon, no? So hindi naman pwede na halimbawa I want to express or I want to benefit from it's my rights, no, na dapat ako bigyan niyo ng trabaho, no? Dapat ang obligasyon din ng tao, no, ang obligasyon natin bilang mamamayan is magkaroon tayo ng knowledge doon sa specific job na yan kung saan tayo nag-a-apply. Hindi pwedeng gusto mong pumasok sa ganito, no, as stated under your human rights na karapatan kong magkaroon ng trabaho, no, karapatan kong matanggap sa trabaho and so on. Kung wala ka naman yung kwalifikasyon na hinahanap, hindi talaga po pwede. So with all the rights, no, so ito dapat yung clear natin, ano? Meron tayong iba't ibang karapatan, but of course, in relation to that, we have the right and we have the duties also na dapat nating i-fulfill for us to benefit from those rights. So our duty is of course to equip ourselves with the necessary or with the relevant skill or knowledge, no, for that specific job before we can enjoy the right to be or right to employment. No? Ang pinoprotektahan lang dito is yung mga tao, no, na meron namang kakayahan, no, na meron namang kwalifikasyon, na hindi pa rin tinatanggap ng kung anumang ahensya na yan for whatever reason they have. No? So, that is what is being protected under here. Hindi pwedeng basta mo na lang gusto magkapasok sa isang trabaho, wala ka naman nung skills or qualification na hinahanap nila. No? Imaginin mo na lang, I am an ordinary citizen, no? Tumambay ako, no? Ngayon gusto ko ng trabaho, gusto kong magkapera. Pumunta ako sa PNP, sabi ko, I invoke my right to employment. Karapatan kong bigyan nyo ng trabaho, no? Karapatan kong tanggapin ako sa isang trabaho. Pwede ba 'yon? No, samantalang yung mga iba diyan nagpapakanda hirap-hirap para maka-attain or makuha yung qualification. Like for example, studying for 4 years, passing the board examination, passing the NAPOLCOM examination or civil service examination para makakuha sila ng tinatawag na eligibility. Only then that they are already qualified, no, to apply for that specific position. So that is just fair. Now, as far as my understanding is concerned, no, tama lang naman 'yon. No, kasi sabi ko nga, bago natin ma-enjoy yung ating karapatan, ay dapat i-fulfill muna natin yung sarili nating obligasyon. Okay? Now, dito sa discrimination, equal pay, no, for equal work. Okay? Was it being practiced kaya ito? Pina-practice kaya ito sa atin? No? We have a good example for this is the distinction between city rate and provincial rate. Bakit kaya ganun? No? Bakit kaya hindi parehas yung rate ng mga nagtratrabaho sa city sa nagtratrabaho sa probinsya? No? Are they more skillful in the city? Mas matatalino ba sila sa city compared dito sa provinces? Kaya mas mataas ang kanilang trabaho kumpara sa mga nandito? I don't get the point. I know for a fact that of course the cost of living there, no, might be a factor, no? Siyempre mataas ang kanilang bayarin doon, mahal ang kanilang bilihin doon. Could be a factor, no? Kaya meron tayong tinatawag na city rate and provincial rate. But I don't think that is enough to justify. Kasi kung parehas ang sinusweldo ng mga nagtratrabaho sa probinsya doon sa kinikita or sinusweldo ng mga nagtratrabaho sa city, would you think that people will fluctuate, no, kumpul-kumpul sila sa mga city if they have the same opportunity, if they will receive the same opportunity dito sa provinces? No. No? Kasi kung ako, parehas lang din naman ang sweldo ko sa mga nagtratrabaho ka parehas ko sa city, then dito na lang ako sa province. Ba't pa ako pupunta sa city? No? So, that is one of the possible way for us to minimize yung pagkukumpul-kumpul ng mga tao sa city. Because of the hindi pantay na opportunity being provided for individuals. Kaya mga iba, gusto nilang pumunta doon kasi alam nila madaling kumita ng pera, mataas ang sweldo doon, and so on. No? And doon sila nag-iipon-ipon. No? Samantalang yung mga naiiwang nagtratrabaho sa probinsya, kumikita lang ng enough or so. But then, considering the skill, parehas lang naman. No? Parehas lang naman ng skill. No? Bakit kailangan magkaroon tayo ng disparity in terms of salary or in terms of payment? Which the Article 23 under Universal Declaration on Human Rights had stated that everyone without any discrimination has the right to equal pay for equal work. Kung parehas kayo ng trabaho, parehas din kayo dapat ng payment. Okay? Everyone who works has the right to just and favorable remuneration, ensuring for himself and his family as an existent worthy of a human being and supplemented if necessary by other means of social protection. That is true, no? The ones that you are working, no, and yung mga rate dapat, yung mga pasahod dapat nire-regulate yan ng gobyerno, making sure that the workers are indeed receiving the appropriate remuneration for their work, no? Kaya nga meron tayong DOLE. Si DOLE dapat ang nagbabantay na dapat itong mga kumpanyang ito ay pinapasahod ng tama yung kanilang mga empleyado, ano? Pinapasahod ng karapat-dapat at sapat, no? Para matustusan naman nila ang kanilang mga gastusin. At kung halimbawa may pagkukulang man, ay dapat gumawa ang gobyerno natin ng pamamaraan para matustusan, no? Matustusan ang kinikita ng bawat mamamayan. So kung halimbawa si Mr. Pedro nagtratrabaho siya pero kulang talaga yung kanyang kinikita, ano ang pwedeng gawin ng gobyerno natin para matulungan siya, no, na mabawasan or madagdagan ang kanyang kita, para mabawasan ang kanyang gastusin or madagdagan ang kanyang kita, no, para nang sa ganun ay hindi naman kawawa si Mr. Pedro at ang kanyang pamilya. Okay? And of course, the right to form or join a trade unions, no, for the protection of his interests. So yung pagsali sa mga organisasyon na kung saan is pro-labor, no, ang mga gusto nila is to push with to do some program or create some program that will protect the interests of the labor force, ano? So karapatan nila 'yan. Wala dapat isang kumpanya or ang gobyerno natin ang magbawal sa pagsali sa mga labor trades na 'yan and so on, because that is of course for the best interest of their organization, association or group. 24. Everyone has the right to rest and leisure, including reasonable limitation of working hours and periodic holidays with pay. And so, we are enjoying it naman, ano, yung mga ganito. Of course, we are not allowed to work Saturday, Sunday, no? That's considered as a weekend, no? So, meron tinatakdang batas natin through the initiative of a certain department that prescribe kung ilang oras dapat magtrabaho ang isang tao, ilang araw dapat magtrabaho ang isang tao, no? Ano yung mga leave benefits na yan, yung mga leave na yan, mga ano pang mga benefits related to work. So we are all entitled to that. We are human being. We're not a machine. We need to rest. We need to relax. No, we need to replenish our energy and ourself and our mind also. So that's part of our human rights. Kailangan namang i-address yan or i-respect yan ng ating mga private companies and even the government. 25, everyone has the right to a standard of living adequate for health, no, and the well-being of himself and his family, including food, clothing, housing, medical care, and other necessary social services. No? The right to security in the event of unemployment, sickness, disability, widowhood, old age, and other lack of livelihood in circumstances beyond his control. So, the foundation of the creation of GSIS and SSS is here under Article 25. Motherhood and childhood are entitled also to special care and assistance. All children, whether born in or out of wedlock, shall enjoy the same social protection. So regardless of the nature of your birth, you are entitled for the different social protection that we have. No? Yung mga magulang natin, yung mga nanay at mga anak nila are being protected, of course, by our government. But that requires, contribution to the so-called PhilHealth, contribution to the SSS, and so on. It's not free. No, it's not free. Free siya siguro doon sa mga qualified individuals. No, yung mga talagang walang kakayahan, no, na mag-provide or magbayad ng kanilang contribution. Free siya sa mga yan, sa mga IPs and so on. But for those individuals na capable namang magtrabaho, they need to pay a certain contribution for them to benefit from this. No? Sometimes nga, the problem here is mas malaki ang benefit ng mga hindi nagbabayad kumpara doon sa nagbabayad. Honestly, that's true. I tried that to PhilHealth. No? Mas malaki ang benefit pag hindi ka nagbabayad kumpara pag nagbabayad ka. Article 26, right to education. No? Education shall be free. Is education free in our country? Yes. No? Free education tayo, free tuition. For elementary, walang binabayaran dyan. Mga mga project na electric pan, no? Project na TV, yan lang yung mga binabayaran. For tuition, wala. Same thing with high school, Sa high school, free tuition din lang yan. Hindi ko alam kung ano yung binayaran namin doon, registration siguro or whatsoever. So, our educational system in our country is almost free, no? Meron nga lang yung mga binabayaran natin, mga projects, and so on, mga contributions, yun yung mga hindi maiiwasan sa mga educational institution. Despite that it's free, no? It's free education, you still need to spend money for some projects, some other contributions that I don't know if valid or I don't know if legal or not, no? But then the idea is that it should be given free, no? Sabi dito, elementary education shall be compulsory, no? So the Department of Education shall see to it that everyone, no, shall at least finish elementary education as it is considered as compulsory education. So dapat walang elementary pa lang drop na, no? Dapat gumawa ang paraan ng Department of Education to make sure that lahat ng mga bata ay at least makapagtapos man lang ng elementary. And that is, of course, the obligation of the government and the parent, no? To make sure that the children are at least receiving the proper education, elementary education, and so on. Sa mga technical and professional naman, they're made generally available, and the higher education shall be equally accessible to all on basis of merit. No? So yung merit na yan is, for example, you have a good grade, no? You're qualified, you have special skills, and so on. Diyan ka nagbe-benefit. No? So some of you might have been receiving, no? Right now, a free tuition discount. Tama ba? Discount. Now, because of your merit. Dahil qualified ka, no? Mataas ang grade mo, that's why you're studying for free in university. But there are those individuals na hindi talaga pwede, so wala tayong magagawa. They need to at least, sabi ko nga, before you can benefit from your right, no? Bago ka mag-benefit sa karapatan mo under this declaration, is you must fulfill your duty, no? So you need to prove that you're indeed an asset for the government. That's why they need to supply. Kasi mahirap naman kung paaralin ng mga taong hindi naman interesadong mag-aral, just a waste of government money. So only those who are qualified and who are hardworking should be given the benefit, no, of free education. So yan. No? Make sure that you are indeed, no, delivering your duties also, no. Kung ikaw ay nagbe-benefit sa project ng government natin on free education, make sure that you are also doing your part, no, by studying hard so that when you graduate, you can be an asset for the government. Makakatulong ka pa sa gobyerno natin, ano? So that's the only thing that you can do. We have here, education shall be directed to the full development of human personality and strengthening the respect for human rights and fundamental freedoms. Therefore, no, kaya nga meron tayong human rights education included na sa ating curriculum and so on, other different curriculums because of that. No? The purpose of education is, of course, to educate each and every individual. And I think one of the important thing that should be should be taught in the different schools is to be compassionate, no? To be humanistic in terms of our approach and how we perform our job and whatsoever, no? Parents have prior right to choose the kind of education that shall be given to their children. So they have the right, no? But of course, what right, sabi ko nga, ano yung karapatan natin kung wala naman tayong choice, no? So the parent, no, may have the right to choose what type of education he will be giving to his children. But since we have this old form of education, wala pa rin silang choice. 27, everyone has the right to freely participate in different cultural life of the community, to enjoy arts and share in scientific advancement. No? Also, we have here, everyone has the right to the protection of moral and material interests resulting from any scientific, literary or artistic production of which he is the author. So that is with regards to intellectual property. Everyone is entitled to a social and international order in which the rights and freedoms set forth in this declaration can be fully realized. And as I've stated, if we're going to compare the constitution that we have and some of the different Magna Carta for women or even for children, no, I think it is in compliance naman with this declaration, no. Most of the articles that we made mention had been already adopted by different laws and even by our Constitution, which is the point of Article 28. 29, everyone has the duties to the community in which alone the free and full development of his personality is possible. In the exercise of his rights and freedom, everyone shall be subject only to such limitation as determined by the law, no? And of course, these rights and freedom may in no case be exercised in contrary to the purpose of the principles of United Nations. And lastly, nothing in this declaration may be interpreted as implying for any state, group, or person any right to engage in any activity or to perform any act aimed at the destruction of any of the rights, freedom set forth herein. So no laws shall be enacted in contradiction to the promulgation or proclamation of this right, no? Nagsasaad na ito dapat yung irespeto ng ating gobyerno, ito dapat ang ibigay sa mga tao, no? No law shall be created that will go against the Declaration on Human Rights. Any law that will be have that purpose will be declared inhumane, and therefore it should not be approved by any member state or member countries of this organization. Okay, so that's the summary lecture that we have under the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, no, as the basis of the different rights and constitutional rights that we have in our country. Do we have any question, guys? May mga tanong ba?
Wala na, sir.
Okay. Ayan. So, if there are no more questions then, no, thank you. We overtime, no, but it's okay kasi you participated well in our discussion, no. Yan. So, titignan ko na lang kung kailan ma-upload yung video for those who were not able to attend. May screenshot na ba for the attendance? Pasend na lang sa GC. Salamat. So, if there are no more questions then guys, thank you very much for attending. I hope I was able to impart some knowledge, some valuable knowledge for this specific topic that we discussed. That's it for today. See you guys on the next lecture. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. Goodbye, sir. Goodbye, sir.
Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
sir.
Salamat.
Thank you, sir. Bye, sir.
Bye po. Bye po.